Today we're talking limited exclusives. You know, when you can buy, get, or achieve a skin or a gun or an item somehow in a game, but only now, only limited. Next patch, it's gone. You can never receive it again. Oh well, tough luck. Better get in now. Until like 5 years later when the development studio decides that it's totally okay to resell at a different price arbitrarily, but that seems to be okay. That's what everybody else seems to say, except me. I disagree. I don't think that's okay. And not for the like, well, I paid my money and I want my money to listen. Counter-Strike is a different game. It's got an ecosystem. You're not going to resell your skin. This isn't a Beanie Baby you bought in 1993 and you're going to resell it in 2020,000 for $20,000. That's not happening. Okay? Shout out to the one person who still has their Princess Diana Beanie Baby bear. It might be worth $16 instead of $6. But that's not happening here. So straight up value proposition, I don't care. I'm shutting down that argument. You always see that argument online for people that are like pro, keep the limited stuff limited. It's not about specifically a value add there. It's about preserving a state of the game, creating history. Now, here's why I ease off of it somewhere. Last 10 years have been about esports, games as a service. We've seen the League of Legends, the Smites, the Brawl Starses of the world. They come out, they put out a patch with a bunch of cosmetics. Some of them are evergreen, some of them are limited, some of them are exclusive, some of them are LTO, some of them are, all the terms and market. Yeah. The concept is skin comes out for a patch, you buy it, you can't buy it again. They return. Is that an issue? A lot of games have gone with the recolor route. Smite did the poolside and recolor. Don't care. I'm totally down. Brawl Stars, I think, did something similar. Global release Shelly. They decided to go with a recolor for the release. Cool, thumbs up. When I see somebody with global release Shelly, you could only get that skin in 2018 before the game officially came out. Beta status, global. And like beyond that, you don't have it. So when I see somebody with that skin, it means something. Not in a they earned it type way, but in a they were there type way. It's a tangible moment that I can point to that says, oh, you come from this era as opposed to this era. And the new era isn't worse than the old era. It's just different. And that's cool and good. These are the emotional tethers that we look to when we try to jump into a world. I'm getting there. Realistically, if the Fenrir skin came out in the middle of 2017 and you could only get it for a half a year and there was nothing different about that moment in time versus the half a year before it or the half a year after, I'm kind of okay with you re-releasing that skin. I kind of am. Philosophically, I should be totally against it, but realistically, shut up, dude. Who cares? Now, if there was a period of time where there was an event going on, like you could only get, Smite had a World Cup skin, right? So you can get, they frequently re-release the football Xbalanque skin, where he's a soccer player. They re-released it in an American jersey as well. When Germany won the World Cup in 2014, they released in the German kit, and they'll never re-release it again. And that's cool, because if I see you in it, I know that you were there when Smite did the World Cup thing, and that's neat. Beyond that, re-release them. I don't care. I want to keep my time periods kind of stationary here. Beta skins should stay for the people that got to beta, because, not as a symbol of how much better they are, but just, boom, this existed then, and it doesn't now. And when I see this player, it means something different than this player. You know, I get that. I like that. And when it comes to WoW, I feel the exact same way. We look at these AOTC mounts coming out for attendees, LOL. So essentially, World of Warcraft now has a trader's post, which you have a special currency, which is given to you exclusively for being logged into the game. It's a different conversation. It's not pay to anything. It's simply retention. As long as you're logged in, as long as you have a subscription during the month, you get your currency, and then that currency is spent to buy stuff. Exclusively cosmetic. No power is bought here. cool. Players have taken issue with it. I don't really get it, but I'm starting to get it here because Blizzard putting in the AOTC mounts, I'm starting to feel some type of way. All right, here's the way achievements work in WoW. Essentially, the new patch comes out, the new content comes out, you and the team kill the boss. It's a big deal. You get cutting edge. Cool. As long as you kill the boss before the next patch, you'll get ahead of the curve and the limited mount that comes with it. Now, this is a large period of time. It's contextual. Some are larger than others, whatever. Getting ahead of the curve very early on in the season is impressive. Getting ahead of the curve the last week of the season is less so, sometimes completely unimpressive. Also, there are definitely people who buy this stuff. Like, it is a common practice to go ahead and spend 50, 100,000 gold on having one of the cool elite teams carry your ass through the dungeon while you die, presumably. And then surprise, you saw it all, you did it. You get the mount and the achievement, woo, just like anybody else that really did it. So the AOTC mount doesn't really say that you're better than anybody. It's not a statement of my ego. It's just like, you were there. And I think that's kind of cool. This is not me defending an ego. Every single person I see that approaches this topic comes with this egotistical, holier than thou attitude that if you put any sort of emotional anything into having this mount, it's because you are a sad, strange little man who has nothing going on in real life, and this is the only achievement or accomplishment you can have to be proud of, and that's the only reason for feeling that limited should stay limited. Every other person that thinks otherwise is smarter and better than you and does not tie their ego to their elo. Dude, I don't even know if I have the mount. I have a ton of AOTC mounts I didn't earn. Right? The amount of times I have leveled up to max level, done a few dailies, and then logged the fuck out. And then 3 months later, my squad shows up and they're like, yo, dude, you want to go run through the Emerald Xavius Nightmare Shade of Akuma Spine of Deathwing Ragnaros? And I go, sure. And I go, I get a mount, and I leave, and I don't log in until the next expansion. Happens all the time. This has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with points in time, tangible moments. Things like this. When I can see you on your Amani Warbear mount, I don't think, oh, you were one of the best. I don't think, oh, you are still good. I think, oh, wow, that's an OG that's been around since those days. I do think the bear mount was kind of, pretty slick, but I also sold a ton of them. So I know there are people that didn't earn them. It just means you were there at that period of time. You weren't there after, you were there in that moment. When we start playing these games, we jump into living worlds. There were people and guilds and mounts before you came, and there will be events and raids and achievements after you go. Not to get all existential in your World of Warcraft video, but this is cool and good. This creates tangible eras where you can be a newer, you can be a middle of, you could play for 10 years since Mists of Pandaria and run up on somebody on a mount you've never seen. Amani Warbear mount. Where's that from? And that's cool. History is, when we talk about history, it's folklore. It's told by the players. We can talk about Vol'jin and all that. That's Vorthos lore. I'm talking player history. And, Preach videos get there, and Leroy Jenkins. And those are our folk tales. We even have some folk songs. Shout out to Kojak and the TKT boys. But we also have trinkets. And those trinkets are your AOTC mounts, are your limited time titles. Like, those are relics of the past, and that is cool. And so when I come out in the defense of the limited time item or skin or mount, whether it's WoW or otherwise, really what I'm defending is the relationship between the player's history and the game itself, the direct connection between our stories and the worlds that we choose to tell those stories about. Having things exist in the past that can't exist now is a positive when building a world. Players have created these subcultures. Devs give us the tools, their games, their systems, their in-game items, etc. And off of that, players have created something wonderful. I love traveling to those different cultures that these players have created in their individual games. And so the preservation of these limited things, it's not from an ego place looking down. Sometimes I like being the new player, looking up at the guy that's been here forever. That is cool. I now feel like I am part of a world. I don't feel like I am just consuming a product. And gaming being the intersection of art and all this is, I get annoying about that. And I'm always going to be here to be annoying about that. I love these player-created universes. And I want to make sure that we preserve the history out of game, but also in game. It just ties the whole room together. Boom, 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 Had to find it. Subscribe.